Bitcoin has kind of sucked recently. It's been sitting right in the lower 60,000s. It's been sucking if you want, you want dopamine, you want price movements, you want it to go back up. But it's been good if you've been a long-term accumulator. And I want to talk about like how to think about the market right now, where we are, and then also, I talk about long positions and taking bigger, more aggressive bets, especially during bear markets. So what does that even look like? Like how would you start that? So if you don't mind, hit subscribe so you can see future videos just like this one. If you want to trade crypto, there are links in the link tree. You can check out BidFi and Ubit and BTCC, but we'll talk more about those later. And I just made a video talking about kind of where we are in the bear market. You can see that we are just within 3 months or so of where we typically bottom. Typically, it would be around October, November of this year, and we're sitting at the beginning of August. So we don't have that much longer to wait until we're typically in the worst part of the bear market. Now, Bitcoin itself is in right below the 200-week moving average, which isn't the worst thing in the world. This is actually typically a pretty good time to be accumulating. We're about 1.5% under the 200-week moving average as of now, while the rest of the market, like the traditional markets, are racing to all-time highs or like right around all-time highs. The fact is Bitcoin is down still 50%. A lot of people starting to leave crypto, right? We just had the cold wallet hack recently that freaked out a lot of the market. And as people are very concerned, will Bitcoin ever be the same? These are very typical feelings in the bottom of the bear market. Like even last cycle when FTX and a handful of other exchanges that were pretty well known were blowing up left and right, people were thinking, well, how is Bitcoin ever going to be the same if you can't trust exchanges? And then we got ETFs and people felt much more comfortable. So with that in mind, with the bottom of the bear market pretty close, a lot of people that have been through multiple cycles are thinking this is the time to be buying. I've been dollar cost averaging every single month with a portion of my income from the month before, a certain percentage of it. And as we go down further, I'm more and more likely to buy more. I've said this many times. I plan on getting more aggressive as we go down further. Now, how much further can we go down? Well, a lot further. Typically, we go down 75% plus. We're down about 50%. So if history is any indication, we could go down another 50% from where we are here, which sounds crazy. I don't think that's going to happen because we didn't go up as much either. What I'm expecting is more like a move to 48 to 50,000. This is just what I'm thinking, and I could be totally wrong on this. But if I had to bet money on it, which I guess I kind of am, I would think we would move down to this $48,000 to $50,000 range within the next 3 or 4 months. This has been a big point of resistance and support. You can see back in the previous bear market, when we were going into the bear market, we got rejected by the 200-day right around 48,000, and then we got rejected again coming out of the bear market in January 2024, and then we held it as support. I would not be surprised to see us kind of sweep right below this and then move up. A lot of people thinking that we'll see support right around this level, and then we sweep below it, and then we kind of bottom out there. Of course, like I said, I could be wrong, but I am planning to open some long positions when we get down a little bit further. I have some long positions open still, and I have actually a short position over on Ubit that's up 100%. But I am planning on getting a little bit more aggressive. So how does this look, right? Let's say Bitcoin's price is, by then, let's say in 3 months, it's around $50,000. We'll call it $52,000 because I won't do it perfectly. And let's say I put in amount invested. I put in $1,000. Let's say Bitcoin triples next bull market. Let's say it 4x's, but I sell some right as it 3x's. My money would go from 1,000 to 3,000. Right, this Bitcoin that I bought would be worth 3 times as much. So really good return, especially in 2 or 3 years. 200% gain, nothing to scoff at. But what I plan on doing at this point is being a little bit more aggressive. Let's say I take that same $1,000 and I can buy $2,000 of Bitcoin. my liquidation point would be around $26,000 Bitcoin. But if I use $2,000, I can get a 3x return and get 6,000, right? I can get a $6,000 position out of it. And you might be saying, well, that's only a 3x gain still. Yes, but I took a leverage, so I only invested 1,000, but I got 6,000 out of it. So instead of a 200% gain, I'm getting much more than that. I'm able to make a lot more money. I'm able to make twice as much. So that's it in a nutshell. The numbers might be off slightly, but basically, yeah, you can double, triple, quadruple your gains if you do 3, 4x leverage. So that's what I plan on doing. Of course, there is risk with this, right? You could get liquidated, but that's why it's nice to use 2 or 3x leverage. And I'm not doing this with my whole portfolio either. I'm not doing it with the altcoins. So I'm not going to, let's say I only have $1,000 in my portfolio. I'm not going to put all $1,000 into a long position. No, I might put 10% or so, maybe plus or minus 5%. I might put that amount in a long position or in multiple long positions across multiple platforms, right? So that is how I plan on investing towards the bottom of the bear market. Of course, there is some risk. This is a levered position. There are things you have to take into account, and it can go wrong, but that is a way to get better returns. And the great thing is when you do this, you're much more likely to take profits on a levered position than you are your spot bags. But crypto, I guess if you hold on ETFs, it might be a little bit easier to sell. But if you hold the actual spot crypto, you probably have it stored somewhere safely. It takes a while to get out. It's a little bit nerve-wracking trying to send large amounts of cryptocurrency. So you're less likely to sell. But on levered positions, you start seeing 10, 20% moves on Bitcoin in a day. That's when you take profits, and it's much easier to take profits. That being said, I'm not doing this with altcoins either because they have massive volatility. Like an altcoin can fall 30% in a day. Bitcoin's not going to do that most likely. So it's much easier to understand where Bitcoin's going, I think, than altcoins. Of course, altcoins might be able to give you better returns, but also Bitcoin has performed better than most altcoins during most bull markets. You can also get more aggressive. I have done more aggressive trades than 2 or 3x in the past, but that's typically when we're right at support lines. I mean, maybe you want to, if we're at 48,000, maybe you would get a little bit more aggressive, then have a stop loss just in case. But yeah, that's not what I'm going to do with a larger portion of my portfolio that's going into long trades. Let me know your thoughts on this. Of course, when we are down there, you'll feel the least like taking risk because the bear market feels worst at the bottom. Let me know your thoughts though underneath the video. It's quite simple to set up these exchanges. If you do want to use leverage, there are links in the link tree. BidFi probably has the best return, the best ongoing rewards. Every single month, we give up to $10,000 per user. Just for the more you trade, the more you get. Basically, all these exchanges have to charge some fee, and BidFi just gives you a ton of that fee back in the form of Bitcoin. So if you sign up, you have to put in your email, you have to pick a password, read their terms and conditions, and then you can start trading. You don't have to put in a lot of your personal information. Then you can transfer cryptocurrency over, like USDT or Bitcoin or whatever you want, but you can transfer it over, go to their perpetual long trades, and you can demo trade first, which means you don't have to use real capital, so you can get used to it. But basically, you would just go over and open up a 2x long isolated position on Bitcoin. Again, it's actually pretty simple. There are tons of tutorial videos as well on that. But you can set it up in 2 minutes and then start trading. Then you can just keep the positions open. Let me know your thoughts though underneath the video. Of course, this is not financial advice. This is highly risky. Bitcoin's already risky. This is higher risk than that significantly. So make sure you know what you're doing. Make sure you're diversified outside of this as well. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Just a reminder, this is not financial advice. This is not legal advice. Do your own research. I'm never going to reach out to you either in the comment section or through any other means to try to get you to invest in something that I'm investing in or to send me crypto. Some links underneath the video are affiliate links. I may earn a commission, but this is at no extra cost to you. Of course, do your own due diligence.